We will call the Common Council back to order. I will ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst. Here. Reinke. Here. Rote.
Here.
Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barzak.
Here.
Chapletsky.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
10 present, unexcused.
We have a quorum. We will begin with the Administration and Finance Committee. Alderman Haas.
Mayor Devine. The Administration and Finance Committee acted on the following items. Items 19 through 21 were passed or adopted. 22 was placed on file. 23 through 26 were approved. 27 placed on file. 29 placed on file. 30 through 32 were all denied. That's the Administration and Finance report. I move for approval.
Second.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman May. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
10 in favor, none opposed.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor Devine.
Thank you. Next, we have Public Works. Alderman Barzak.
I would like to bring your attention to items number 33 through 43 on tonight's agenda. They are all resolutions adopted by the committee. 41, however, was a communication that will be placed on file. I move for adoption of the committee's report.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderperson Probst. Is there any
I have a
discussion?
choice, Mayor, it's okay, just the better looking one.
She's closer and loud. I heard her. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst. Aye. Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
10 in favor, none opposed.
Motion carries.
Mayor Devine, that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have the Safety and Development Committee. Alderman Lysick.
I refer you to items 45 for approval, 49 to be, parking ordinance be placed on file, 49A for approval, 50, 51 to be placed on file, 52 and 53, the special use permit for Tall Guy to be approved, 54 and 55, the special use for Blaze Pizza to be approved, and all acted upon favorably by all 5 members of the committee. I move for adoption of the committee report on those items.
Second.
There is a motion with a second by Alderman Barzak. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst. Aye. Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
10 in favor, none opposed.
Motion carries.
I then refer to item 46 on your agenda. It's a resolution approving revised amendment number 4 to the purchase and sale agreement, development financing agreement, and development agreement between the Community Development Authority of the City of West Allis and Element 84 LLC for multifamily development within the 84th and Greenfield redevelopment area. Acted upon favorably by all 5 members of the committee. I move for adoption of this item.
Second.
There is a motion with a second by Alderman Barzak. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst. Aye. Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
No.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
9 in favor, 1 opposed.
Motion carries.
I then refer you to item 56 on your agenda. This is the proposed ordinance regarding the limitations on tobacco retailers within the C3 commercial district that we had the hearing on tonight. Motion out of committee is to deny by 4 members, and I move for
3 members.
disapproval.
3 to 2.
It was 3 to 2.
3 to 2.
3 to 2.
Oh, 3 to 2?
3 to 2, Tom, was, yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm happier with 4 to 1, but
I have this wrong on here. And I'll move for
Do we,
denial of
cancel
this.
it, please?
Second.
So you're moving the Not denial of the denial, but,
No, I'm moving for
Committees.
denial of the ordinance.
okay. And a second,
In,
the committee's
it's the committee's
action.
recommendation.
Yes, okay. I wanted them not miss a double negative. Second by Alderman Barzak. Is there any discussion?
Okay, hold on, Mayor Devine. I need to know how I'm voting. So an aye vote means that you want
The
to
ordinance-
deny it,
right.
and a no vote means you want to approve the ordinance.
Right,
right.
it doesn't approve it, but it means
Doesn't
you want to
approve it,
approve
there
it.
be
You want to go
another
back
action.
to it.
All
Correct.
right, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman May?
not being in the room, can we get a high-level view at what was the reason for the denial?
I guess I'd let Alderman Ranky, Alderperson Probst, and Alderman Barzak, the ones that voted against the ordinance. My take was, I have shopping center in my district that has had an empty store vacant for over 2 years, and they want to fill it with a cigar tobacco store. That is precluded because they're within 1,000 feet of a park for our ordinance. Even though there are stores that sell tobacco within 1,000 feet of the park, but they don't happen to be a full-service tobacco store. They happen to be liquor stores, quickie marts, grocery stores, filling stations. They all can sell tobacco by a park, but if you're over 20% of your business is in tobacco, you can't. The property in question, you can't even see the park from the property. However, it's caught up in the ordinance, and I feel very strongly that this business is a very supportive business in this community. They have 2 stores vacant in their shopping center, and I do not want that shopping center to fail. And I think it's ludicrous to have an ordinance that says you can't have a cigar store within 1,000 feet of the park, but you can sell cigarettes within 1,000 feet of the park, as long as it's not a cigar store. It can be in the grocery store, it can be in a liquor store, it can be in a tavern. You can smoke cigarettes in the park. You can't drink alcohol in the park, but you can sell alcohol across the street from a park. The argument is, well, we're protecting our children. Well, I don't know where we're protecting our children. They can't go in that store in the first place. If they're in there illegally, and the police are gonna get them on their stings, as they always do. They do tobacco stings, they do alcohol stings in this community.
Mayor Devine?
You can't see that from the park.
I believe Alderman Lysick said that he wanted to hear from Alderman Ranky, Barzak, or myself as to the denial. And
Right, I'm giving my arguments right now.
I thought you gave those during the Common Council first half. And during the public comment, you've said virtually what you're saying now.
That's fine, I'm repeating myself. It's my right.
Done.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Can I give my argument? Are you
Councilman Ranky?
giving your argument?
You go ahead, Ms. Ranky, you can do it first.
Okay. Basically, I don't think we should change the restrictions when they're working to make our city healthy and more prosperous. We want to improve our image, and having more tobacco stores isn't going to do it. It's not going to do it. We already have 80 licenses out there for tobacco stores. Do we need any more? I don't think so. We want to improve our image. And why should we change our ordinance just because one owner wants to rent his store? That's ludicrous. It just isn't right.
Thank you.
Especially when it's working.
Mayor
Our
Devine?
restrictions are working.
Alderperson Probst.
On June 28th, 2016, this body sat in it was a License and Health Committee meeting that night, but the subsequent council meeting after that, this body unanimously voted to approve the ordinance that we currently have on file. I recall City Attorney Scott Post saying numerous times that we don't just keep changing our ordinances. When an ordinance gets made, it's supposed to stay that way. We're not supposed to change it. We certainly don't change it for one business that would like to have another business move in. We have a lot of vacant places in the city of West Allis. I fully understand the concern about that. I don't think you just fill that business with any warm-bodied business that shows up. Not when we're trying to improve our city, not when we've spent the kind of money that we've spent rebranding our city. We're trying to get away from, that image of us having a bar on every corner. We have bars that we can't do a lot about because they're grandfathered in. So their locations are not optimum for what it is that we look forward as far as our development and our progress goes, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, and we can do it when we can do it. This is something we can do now. And as the only licensed teacher that sits on this council, I have a very significant problem with the marketing that gets done to our youth. And that is specifically the reason that the ordinance was put the way it was as it applies to parks. Parks are designed for children to play in. We have little leagues, we have all that kind of, those activities going on. And the marketing of cigarettes and tobacco stores and vaping stores are geared towards those kids. And the most recent study that I just saw about vaping, which is another reason to continually decrease the vaping opportunities for our youth, are the kids that are coming down with popcorn lung now, which is exactly what we worried about when we had these committee meetings back in 2016. So, again, just because we've done things in the past doesn't mean that we should continue to do it if we're looking to better our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other,
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Barzak?
when I walked into that meeting, I had an extremely open mind about which way I was going to vote. In fact, I was probably leaning more about approving it than not approving it. I listened to both sides of the argument, and to me, as I sat there, I just went, the logical thing here is to stay put. We look at, we're trying to control those auto loan stores. We're trying to control massage parlors. We're trying to control pawn shops. A cigarette depot is in that same mold of you look and you go, what image do you want to have for your city? And I think this council has been doing a really good job of changing this image. We worked hard, we're getting good developments in, and then we look and say, okay, and this is where it came down. We're gonna change this for one store owner. And I looked over at Greenfield Park and I looked across the street at 113th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and I'm going like, ooh, we could probably have one or two cigarette depots in there in a very short time. Those stores are pretty hard to lease out over there too. It just, to me, when I heard both sides of the argument, my mind was changed, because like I said, when I walked in that meeting, I was more going to support the change than not support it. But it just made too much sense to me with the image of this city to stay on track. We're doing such a good job. Let's stay there. I know we got the vacant building, but to change it because of one owner and put in a cigarette depot, I just couldn't do it, and that's why I voted to deny it.
Mr.
Alderman
Mayor,
May, did you get your answer?
Yeah, conflicted.
Alderman Vitale?
it seemed like, we, I understand I was part of the, a couple of years ago, about the new tobacco ordinance and on and on. But the fact is, right now, the way the ordinance is, if we're so opposed about tobacco, why can't we do something for the entirety of those 80 people that they have the license? I mean, why can't we come up with the same 1,000 feet then, just as well? If it's an issue, just for one mall owner that he tried to utilize the space has been vacant for a long time, and really, it doesn't affect on 76th Street, the park is so far apart, and the visibility, I mean, is away from, right behind the grocery store, I mean, it's not visible, really, technically, right off the streets, I mean, it doesn't have the visibility. So the park, I mean, to me, is not an issue, really. People today, you go to kids, baseball leagues, on and on. The parents, they do smoke next to their kids just as well. It's not that the issue that people who want to smoke, they're going to smoke. I'm not a smoker. I mean, I never smoked in my life. But the fact is, if we're going to deny somebody that he tried to keep a mall, I mean, right on 76th Street there, going, because the way things are going, we have a lot of vacancies throughout our communities, really, we do. You go on 67 and Beloit Road, Lincoln and Beloit, there's about 2, 3 vacancies there, and that's what we are incurring today in many parts of our community, you know. It's not just because we know the applicant, that he tried to make the changes. It's not the issue here. It's for the welfare of somebody that has a business and he tried to occupy that building. That's the only reason it is. To me, I mean, then we should restrict the entire community. Then the 80 people, they have the license, they're only 200 feet away from next door residential neighborhood. Well, then we should start restrict everybody then. Should not be able to have a tobacco shop in West Dallas, really. It's selling cigarettes. That's the way I like to see it. You know, we're making a big issue about this. To me, is very invalid, really, for us to make a big stink about it. That's my opinions, you know. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Weigel.
I guess I'm hearing both sides of this, and I had an idea of how I was going to vote. Perhaps the suggestion would be, if there's a real concern about a bunch of these stores, say, opening up across from a park, what if we found some sort of compromise distance from the 1,000 feet to a smaller number that might allow this one particular use to go through in this one location we're talking about, but preclude it from springing up in dozens of other locations around the city? And that might be a reason to send it back to committee, I guess. I don't know. Just, or an amendment on the floor. I wouldn't know what that number is right now. So that to me, that seems like compromise might be an answer here.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman May.
Yeah, so I was listening to all the arguments. I'm also conflicted on this one, and I agree with Alderman Weigel. That's the same thing I was thinking was, first of all, we do change our ordinances to promote business activity, to prevent vacant business spaces. We've done that in other places. We've changed zoning in order to help promote the businesses that we want to get in this community as well. And I get the argument about not wanting to have smoke shops right across from the park. And if the 1,000 feet is too much, you know, maybe you make it a city block's worth, which is typically 330 feet. You say 500 feet from a park. That might be a good compromise. And so I'm wondering from the author, would you entertain a motion to send it back to committee to change the distance?
Sure.
Mayor Devine, I make a motion to send item 56 back to committee.
Second.
We have a motion with a second by Alderman Weigel. Is there any discussion on the motion to send it back to committee? Is there any objection?
Don't we already have a motion on the table?
I believe this would supersede that motion.
Okay.
Okay, seeing none on the motion to refer it back to committee, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed?
No.
No.
8-2. Alderperson Reinke and Probst voting no. Motion carries.
That's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Now we'll get to the easy stuff. License and health, Alderman Chaplesky.
You might have just jinxed us, Mayor.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring everyone's attention to items number 13 through 18 and 58 to 61 of tonight's agenda. These are voted 5-0 to either place on file, to approve, or approve subject necessary requirements. And number 60 to approve as amended. That was a special event for O'Connor's Perfect Pint, putting the time for the outside music from 11 to 10 o'clock. I'd like to move for the adoption of this portion of the committee's report.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Weigel. Is there any discussion? Are there any ordinances? No? Okay. Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, then we have item number 57. This was for a bar license, not a bartender's license. And the person that would be taking over the bar had a a long record, mainly traffic things, and it was voted 3-2 to deny the license. So I'd like to move for the remainder of the committee's report.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Weigel. Is there any discussion?
Motion
Alderman-
is to deny.
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor Devine? Yeah, a yes vote would be denied, a no vote would be not to deny it.
Thank you.
And Mayor Devine?
Alderman Haas?
Yeah, to give the council a little further background, as Alderman Chaplesky had indicated, this individual does have a very lengthy police record. It's a police record. There are no felonies, no misdemeanors, in fact, but it shows an inability or a choice not to obey the law. It's an individual who has had multiple traffic violations every year and has been repeatedly cited for a lack of auto insurance, doesn't have a valid driver's license currently, and even though he's not a bartender, he would be able to act as the bartender at his business, at his location, and that's the reasoning behind the denial.
Thank you. Alderman Haas, is there any other discussion?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman May?
I voted against the motion to deny. The police records, absolutely, it's things like mostly no insurance when he was pulled over. He had a couple speeding on there. I think the last incident was 2016, about a year and a half ago. And my argument on this one was, first of all, when someone has a bad driving record, I can't recall a time that the council has outright just denied them on a bad driving record. And second of all, this is for the agent of the business, which means it's his money on the line with the business. If he's going to be performing illegal activity there, we can shut him down. Unlike a bartender who, may get fired from one position and pop up at another bar. So my sense on this one is the individual has more skin in the game. It has been a good year and a half, which if you saw the record, it was a much larger pattern, closer pattern of tickets in between. And I believe the applicant's trying to turn himself around here, so that's why I voted against the motion to deny.
Mayor Devine?
Thank you. Alderperson Probst?
Wondering if somebody can clarify. This gentleman didn't just have a poor driving record, there were OWIs, correct? One.
One.
Thought it was two.
One and one dismissed, I
Yeah, it was two pulled
One was
over, so.
dismissed. Oh, that's dismissed.
Okay.
Yeah, one was dismissed.
Okay.
Mayor Devine,
Alderperson Ranky?
can we deny a license on traffic offenses? I thought we had to have I didn't know we could do that.
Mayor Devine? I believe we can deny based on traffic, but we have to be consistent. So if we deny this individual for this record, traffic record, the next, at least agent, because this is an agent now, not a bartender, we would have to treat the same.
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Chaplesky?
I believe this city attorney said, looked at as habitual offender. That would be the reason why to deny. I voted not to deny. He's only got a one-year lease, which is already signed, and I figured the most he would be there is a year if he didn't abide by the rules and regulations. He said he's trying to change, and so I figured I'd give him that chance.
Most of the tickets are no insurance.
Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Lysick,
No?
May,
No.
Probst, Ranky,
Aye.
Rote,
Aye.
Vitale,
No.
Weigel,
Aye.
Barzak,
No.
Chaplesky,
No.
Haas,
Aye.
Is it?
5 in favor, 5 opposed.
I totally lost track. I had 6-4. I will vote aye.
6 in favor, 1 opposed.
Motion carries. Sorry. Thank you. Advisory Committee, Alderperson Ranky.
Mayor Devine. Decision. Okay. I direct the council's attention to items number 64 through number 71 on tonight's agenda. One resolution, one communication, several appointments and reappointments. They were all approved by the committee, and I move for their approval. Mayor Devine.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second by Alderperson Probst. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
10 in favor, none opposed.
Motion carries.
That is all, Mayor.
Thank you. Quick and easy.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we adjourn until our next regularly scheduled meeting, Tuesday, February 20th at 7 PM.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by someone, and you decide. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.